Welcome to Laddie, home of I'm ready to eat. Can I take your order?
Hi, I just want a side of ranch.
What's in your pants?
No, I would like a side of ranch.
So just a side of ranch?
That's what I want.
Alright, coming right up. Hi guys, my name's Lexus and today I'm going to be talking to you about the disgusting, disturbing things I've seen in fast food. First things first, my gray hair is showing. I don't have a beanie that looks cute with this outfit, so we're just going to have to acknowledge it and just let it be. Now that that's out the way, let's get into the story time. So I started working in fast food at 17 years old. This was my first job and I was the cashier. I'm not going to name which fast food place I worked at simply because I don't know the legality of me talking crap. But if you watch my other videos, I say which one I worked at. So this one night, I wasn't 18 yet and I was still fairly new. I had seen people steal food, steal from the register, drink in the back, and smoke inside next to the food. At a certain time, customers aren't allowed to come inside anymore. They all have to go through the drive-thru. Where the food is, there's really hot light bulbs to keep the food warm. I've seen employees use the light bulbs to light their cigarettes and they're just smoking while they're cleaning all around the food, all around me, and it's just like, have some respect. I don't smoke. I don't care if you smoke, it's your body, but don't do it next to me when I'm in an enclosed building and I can't leave until I clock out. All of the employees were in the back taking shots and I was the only person in the store who stayed in the front minding my own business. Every time a customer drove through the drive-thru, a bell would go off. And literally in between shots, every time there was a bell, they would just leave the back of the restaurant and go back to their stations. It was my first time working with this one manager in particular. And this manager had been there for like 7 to 10 years, I think. And so he had come up to me and he put his hand on my shoulder and he was like, what happens here stays here. This manager was like 35, like this 35-year-old man just freaked the crap out of me. Now, I will say, he was really nice. And he was like, if you are hungry at all, feel free to make yourself whatever you want, but if you want to make yourself something that's expensive, let me know so that I can ring it up with my manager code. But just everything that happens here, we just don't talk about it. And so, yeah, he was really, really nice, but really inappropriate and scared the crap out of me. I think that's one of the nights that I just went home crying, bawling my eyes out thinking I have to quit. I don't belong here. I do not fit in with these people. Anyway, moving on. So sometimes when either I was in a bad mood or the customers were just particularly depressing, I like to work in the back, which means I was preparing food. And so one time I remember we were all preparing food and one thing that we had to do, it was a Mexican fast food place, is there was beans. There was a lot of beans and we had to mash the beans every day by hand. We would keep the beans in the back in a hot box to keep them warm. And every time when we're at our station preparing food, if we would run low, we would have to go in the back, grab beans out the hot box and put it at our station. And so one of my coworkers, he was grabbing beans from the back to bring them to the front, and these beans are hot. He dropped the pan, and these beans take hours to make. And we had other beans in the back, but this was just a whole pan of beans that's just ruined. And so he's about ready to pick it up and throw everything away, and the manager comes out and he's like, no, you're not. That's food cost right there. I'm not getting in trouble for that happening on my shift. Scoop it back up into the pan. Guys, my face. I was like, what? These are beans, like mushed, soft pinto beans that were scraped off of the floor and then put on the taco bar. And the manager said if any of the employees wanted to make themselves food to use beans from the back, we're not using the ones in the front, that's just for the customers. Done. I don't think you guys understand how much this jacked with me, you guys. I've gotten told since I was a little girl that I'm germophobic. I'm not afraid of germs, but do I like germs? No, I don't. I can recognize when something's gross. That was gross. I understand that they had to have the perspective of what's best for the business, But that's a no-no. I always, when I worked there, had the perspective of a customer. I wouldn't eat this, so I wouldn't serve this. And they have what's better financially, what's better for the business, what will get the cars out faster. They had that mentality. So it was just disturbing to me. So while I worked there, I was pretty close to some of the coworkers. Me and about 2 or 3 coworkers were on the friend level. And I remember one of them would just tell me stories and stories. He was there a year before I started working there. And he said that one time in particular, that they dared one of the employees who had been there for like 10 years, they dared him to wipe his butt on a quesadilla and then serve it. You guys, he did it. You guys, I think it was said that he like unbuttoned his pants and just like dropped them a little bit and then took the quesadilla and wiped. I don't know if he went in the middle of the butt cheeks or just on the outside, but you guys, that is not only disgusting on every level of disgusting, but it's also like, that's dangerous. Like, feces is not edible. If you don't wipe your butt well, or if you don't shower regularly, and if the quesadilla went in between the cheeks, you just served some poopy food to someone. You just, like, the store started receiving complaints, and I know that the general manager was starting to get on it. Like, I want to know what's going on. I sat down with the general manager and I just listed them out. This is what I'm seeing. You guys, and nothing happened. Nothing happened, you guys. Nothing happened. There was no cameras in the store at all. No cameras. And one thing when I was telling my boss all these things is, where's your proof? My boss was really close to these people. My boss knew these people for years before I started working there. So, yeah, she asked me where my proof was. I don't have any proof. I didn't take a picture of you stealing. I didn't do anything. And at this time, like I said, at this time it was my first job, so I didn't know about calling human resources and calling like a corporation and telling them. I didn't think about that. I didn't know that. So I just thought, well, I guess there's nothing that I can do, but I made sure on my shift there was certain things that I just wouldn't allow to happen. When I turned 18 and after being there for the first year, I can say, excuse the vulgarity, my balls dropped. I can definitely say that. Instead of me just sitting in the corner and watching these nasty things, I stepped it up like, no, we're not selling that. I'm not doing that. I don't care if you're my manager, I don't care if you're my boss. If something's wrong, I'm gonna say it's wrong. Some people didn't like the ballsy Lexus. That sucked, because to me it's just like, my integrity is more important than this couple seconds of your life that you don't care about. No. One time, I had this coworker. He just didn't care. He just did not care about the job, about anything. One, he would constantly drink on the job. He would take the company's cups and just fill it with alcohol and just drink that around the store. Now, everyone knew, but did he ever really get in trouble? No. When they would suspend him, would he always come back? Yes. So he would constantly do that. This dude smelled like funk. I don't even want to sit here and judge him, and I don't know his life. Maybe he didn't have a shower. I don't know, maybe he was homeless for all I know. I have no idea. He smelled like funk every day. His funk was so potent that standing next to him, it was almost like I could taste it. Like, you don't handle food when you're like that. That's actually in the rules. When you start working and you get a little pamphlet of rules, personal hygiene's in there. So this time, we were standing next to each other, me and this coworker, and we were making food. And when you're making food, you can hear the customer in the drive-thru. And so they said that they just wanted this burrito, and so I started making the burrito. And when I was putting the sauce on the burrito, my coworker leaned over and he said, I'm pretty sure they didn't say they wanted extra sauce. I had put a little bit too much sauce, whatever. And so he took his palm and he shoved it in the sauce and he smeared it around the burrito, and then he shook his hand off, wiped it on his pants, and walked away. I was like, no, the hell you aren't. You are not gonna have your funky... I can't even say the things that I was saying. So I started over. I started redoing the order, and he was like, no, you're not. And he took the tortilla that he smeared his hands all over, And he continued making it and he served it while I was making another one. And this dude, he would do things where he would like lean on something and like touch his phone, pick at his shoes, touch his hair, wipe his face, and then go back to cooking. Like you just can't, you can't do that. You guys, it had me frazzled. Is that the right word? I don't even know. Ugh. Complexity, exhausted, wear out. Yes, yes, yes. I was feeling frazzled. I was feeling angry. I was feeling exhausted by this person. I had worked with this person for a year and a half and I was just done. I was tired of their crap. So moving on, there was this time that the general manager, so this is like the boss, she was preparing food and she's really fast. And she has to be fast because if the time is messed up for the store, she gets in trouble. When a person would go through the drive-thru, the store had 90 seconds to make their food. Now that right there is a load of crap. It doesn't matter how much you order or what you order. We have 90 seconds. Like if a person came through the drive-thru and wanted a fried item, on average, fried items took around 2 minutes to make. When you have a minute and a half to make something, but it takes 2 minutes to cook, you see how that doesn't work? We're either gonna sell you something that's been sitting out for a while, something that's not fully cooked, or our time's gonna be screwed up. There's no way around it. So that was just a problem on its own. A tangent of the tangent. There was a time a customer came through the drive-thru and he said, I would like to order 80 tacos. What? We asked him to pull up, he came inside and he's like, I'm really sorry you guys, I'm going to a party, I need these tacos, and he left us a tip and he was just really cool about it. But yeah, no matter what you order, the time does not change. Back to this day with my general manager. My boss was moving so fast that she was adding stuff to the taco bar and I don't know how, but she like sliced her finger. And like when she sliced it, the pressure of the slice squirted blood all over the cheese, all over like everything around the cheese. And it's just like, it was a complete accident. And my reaction is, are you okay? And so I'm just thinking like, do you want ice? Do you want a Band-Aid? Like, let me put this car, I was on my headset, like, let me put this car on hold. And we're trying to like address her bleeding situation. Protocol would be to take everything that's been freaking touched by this blood, everything that's been contaminated by the blood, and possibly the things around it too, just in case one splatter got here, one splatter got there, to take all those things and to throw it away. That would have been the protocol, to tell all the customers, hold on, pause, stop, time out, we need to address this. But what ended up happening? What did she end up doing? She ended up taking on the tub of freshly grated cheese. At first, she was just looking at it, seeing where the blood touched, and she scooped out everything that visibly had blood on it, and she threw that away. And she left everything else on the taco bar. Now, I had a really big problem with that. So I was like, hey, like that's blood. I came and looked over, there was a cup of limes and stuff, and I was like, there's blood in the lime juice. Like, this is all contaminated. And so slowly but surely she started throwing away more and more and more, but she was so mad at it and she really tried to go around it. I don't think she ended up throwing away all the cheese. I think she ended up keeping the cheese that she didn't think was touched. Maybe she thought simply just scraping off the top and throwing that away and keeping the rest would be completely fine. And I can see it if it was a cross-contamination of something that wasn't your DNA. If it's like, oh snap, I got tomatoes in the cheese, I can't throw away all this cheese. I can see that. I can see it. But blood? No. They're dealing with some nasty stuff right there. And I thought that, wow, this company just completely sucks. But then my friends who also worked in fast food said that they've experienced and seen stuff similar to that. So it's just like, is no one safe? Is no one safe? That had me thinking, like, if I was ever a boss, I mean, regardless of the boss that I already am, but if I was ever like a titled boss, certain crap just wouldn't be going down. So slightly over a year ago, I quit. I was done. When I was working there, there was a time frame where in like 3 months, 5 people got fired. And some of them they screwed it up to the point to where even now today, that was a year and a half ago, even now today, they still can't find a job. So guys, please think about what you're doing. Now the general manager didn't fire them. No, her boss did. Her boss was like, if you can't handle this, I will. I quit over a year ago, and right now there's hardly anybody working there who was working there when I was working there. Even the general manager who was working there, she got moved to a different store and there's a new manager in. Like, so hopefully things are looking up over there. I've only worked at one fast food place, and I worked there for a little bit over 2 years. I don't mind working in fast food. I think it's kind of fun. I do like the rush and the meeting, literally meeting thousands of people every week. So it may just be the location that I was at, but it could also just be fast food in general. So that's my story time, guys. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below on the crazy, nasty, or just weird things you've witnessed people doing. My name is Lexus Amour David, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys. Heck yeah! I found an apron! I knew there was a reason I didn't give this back. Wow, I haven't used this in so long. My face! My glasses! Ah. I think that's what it feels like when a baby's being birthed. Look at me in my fast food attire. Probably should like change my shirt and stuff, but oh, these headphones match my shirt. Never mind. I'm chilling in this. You guys want some peanut butter? Hello? You sound young. Huh?
Oh, I thought I heard somebody at the door saying hello.
Oh, that was me talking to my camera.
Okay.
But thanks for checking up, Graham. Good job. I wonder what I look like to her. Pull forward to the next window. I have your total. Thank you. Ranch. Okay, bye.